This morning on The Dish, this year's James Beard Award winner for the best chef in all of New York City. Woo! Marco Canora grew up in the nearby Hudson Valley, where the cooking of his Italian-born mother provided his first inspiration. His big break came at Danny Meyer's Gramercy Tavern, and he was later chosen to open Tom Colicchio's Craft Bar, and other venues.
Then, striking out on his own, he opened the Italian-influenced Hearth. Later, he added Brodo, credited with launching a national craze for bone broths, and Zadie's Oyster Room, which recalls the oyster houses of the city's early days. And Marco Canora, good morning. Welcome to The Dish.
Welcome,
Thank
Chef.
you. Very happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. What'd you bring us?
Well, we have what would be a typical holiday meal in my household. We always start with a bowl of soup that's broth-based with eggs cooked in it, so it's like an Italian egg drop soup.
Nice.
And then we always went to a pasta course, and in the holidays it would usually be a lasagna verde bolognese. And it's a big time commitment, but it's worth it, and it's why we do it like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a big roast with a bunch of side
Beautiful.
dishes. We have string beans and squash. And then, of course, dessert, pear and apple crumble with cranberries.
And the breakfast drink.
Yes. A little Applejack, bourbon, and some cider, bubbly cider, and some cherry bitters.
Some bitters
like
in there,
a
yeah.
breakfast
It's
cocktail.
pretty nice.
I'm
It's
into
very,
it.
very holiday-like.
Huge fan of cider these days. There's so much great artisanal cider
is.
happening, especially in New York State. And you pick some crab apples and you let them ferment, and it's such an old school thing that I think is returning, and I'm glad
Just
because
the
it's
smell
delicious.
Of it too just fills the house. with
Yeah,
such a great...
cider is just
Thank
amazing.
you, Hudson Valley.
Yes.
So you learned your love of cooking at the knee of your mother. Tell us about this.
I did. Well, we grew up in the Hudson Valley on the Hudson River, and we had a big, huge garden, and my mom was born and raised in Lucca in Tuscany, and I was a very fortunate kid. I grew up with really fresh food. Like, we would go and literally pick our dinner. So we'd go pick some zucchini flowers, make a quick frittata, and my mother was a superwoman, and she would get a frittata and a salad from the lettuces in the garden on the table pretty much every night of the week. So
I have this mental image
lucky.
of these huge holiday meals too.
oh my God, we would cook for 3 days and then eat in 20 minutes, which I think is pretty common, but we really, making the broth and making the pasta and forming the lasagna and, the long cook roasts and the whole nine. So yeah, it was a big part of my life growing up.
You liked eating. Did you know you wanted to
loved eating.
did you know you wanted to be a chef?
I kind of got the bug early. One of my first high school jobs was as a dishwasher, and literally from that moment on, I kind of, became a bit addicted to that energy and to the, just juggling all these balls in the air, and it was just a lot going on, and I absolutely love it, still to this day.
It's not all just Italian food. You have Brodo, which I have to tell you is in my neighborhood.
Yeah, the broth shop.
There is nothing better, especially on a
thank
cold
you.
day, than getting a steaming hot cup of broth.
Yeah.
Thai broth for people who aren't in the know.
Well, broth is a traditional food that's been around for a very long time all over the world. So back in November of 2014, I had this little window, and I thought that I should try to sell broth as a hot beverage in a coffee cup with a sip lid. Yeah. And it was just kind of a whim, and I didn't think it was going to be much. And, I thought if I could sell 10 or 20 cups a day, that would be great, a little supplemental cash coming in for the business, and it turned into something a little bit bigger, and people really responded to it, and it's elemental.
So your first baby was Hearth, though. What was the original concept of that restaurant?
So that was 14 years ago. We opened in 2003, and it's funny. Everybody wants to know that little elevator pitch of what Hearth was, and at the time, I basically said Hearth is, our shtick is that we don't have a shtick, because we really just wanted to focus on great food and great hospitality and have a great family of people that believed in what we were doing. And to this day, that's kind of what we do. I mean, it's very much Italian influenced. It's very much driven, lately especially, I kind of shifted it a bit. It's about nutrient density. And it's a great place to get some local vegetables and some healthy, clean meat and a simple meal that feels nourishing and energizes you.
What is not to love? I am not sure. Chef, as I ask you to sign this dish, as is custom on this program, I'll ask you the question we always ask. If you could share this Italian bounty with anyone, past or present, who would it be?
I think it would be Leonardo da Vinci.
Ooh,
wow.
That might be a first. I don't know if we've had a Da Vinci answer on that. I mean, he'd be a fascinating dinner date, wouldn't he?
I would say so, yes.
He'd probably be able to invent some new food stuff.
Pretty fascinating man, yeah. I'd love to pick his brain for a bit.
Great idea.
Wouldn't we all? Good idea.
Yeah, thank you.
Chef Marco Canora, thanks and congrats on the success.
Thank you so much.
Keep making that broth.
I will.
And for more on Chef Canora and the dish, head to our website at cbsthismorning.com.